Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Thomas has committed many misdeeds on the bold and the beautiful. While all of his transgressions are well known, he might have a few skeletons in his closet. One of them could involve Grace's recent downfall. When Thomas Matthew Atkinson returned from Europe, he revealed that he and Paris, Diamond White, had broken up because of the Buckingham's crimes against Liam Scott Clifton. Recently, Grace, Cassandra Creech, found herself in trouble after lying about Liam's brain tumor and conning Bill Don Diamond out of $1 million. A remorseful Grace claimed she did it to protect her family. Reese's Wayne Brady, old pals, threatened Grace's daughters if she didn't settle her husband's gambling debts. Seeing no other way out, Grace resorted to drastic measures to get the money. Unbeknownst to Grace, the blackmailer might have been someone close to her. A new fan theory on Reddit suggests that Thomas is Grace's blackmailer. It would be amazing if it turns out to be Thomas who blackmailed Grace into bilking Bill out of $1 million. After all, he was connected to Grace through Paris, and I get a weird feeling about how he and Paris ended things. The theory went on to suggest Thomas will use the money to start a new fashion house. Most comments agreed with the theory. I also thought that Thomas might be the Colby who was texting Grace, but why? What good would all that do Thomas? Asked one fan. Although Thomas is a forester and has money and stock shares, his being the blackmailer isn't out of the realm of possibility. But the question is, why would he hurt his future mother-in-law? Could it be a way to break up with Paris, or did financial troubles cause Thomas to resort to blackmail? The Bold and the Beautiful thrives on its twists, secrets, and the kind of long-burn storytelling that keeps fans theorizing for weeks on end. And one of the most intriguing possibilities currently circling the fandom is the idea that Thomas Forrester may have had a hidden role in the messy saga of Grace Buckingham's blackmail. While on the surface the storyline seemed fairly straightforward, Grace, protective of her daughter Paris, decided to exert pressure on Carter Walton to make a choice that aligned with her own maternal instincts. Viewers who know the Forrester family dynamics and Thomas's long history of manipulation are beginning to ask whether things were really that simple. Was Grace truly acting alone, or was she nudged, influenced, or even outright used as a pawn in a larger scheme by Thomas? A character who has reinvented himself multiple times yet always seems to circle back to old habits when the stakes are high. Fans who have followed the show for years know that nothing is ever truly as it seems in Los Angeles, especially when the Forresters are involved, and a theory like this makes perfect sense given Thomas's track record, his desire for control, and his complicated feelings about Carter, Paris, and the role he himself plays in the Forrester legacy. To understand why this theory has traction, you have to remember Thomas's long history of behind-the-scenes scheming. This is the same man who gaslit Hope Logan, used his son Douglas as leverage, and manipulated situations to benefit himself and the Forrester family legacy, often at great emotional cost to others. Yes, Thomas has been on a redemption arc, but those arcs in soaps are rarely permanent. When he feels his family's image, his own position, or the future of Forrester Creations is under threat, he has been known to slip back into old behaviors. Now, put yourself in his mindset. Carter, the COO of Forrester Creations, has been entangled in multiple romantic entanglements that brought unwanted scandal to the family and the company. His affair with Quinn Fuller nearly derailed Eric Forrester's marriage and left Forrester Creations vulnerable to gossip and humiliation. Thomas may have been quietly keeping score, and when Carter once again found himself with Paris Buckingham, a match that wasn't exactly beneficial to the family's public image, Thomas may have seen an opportunity to intervene without getting his hands dirty. This is where Grace Buckingham comes in. A fiercely protective mother, Grace has always had strong opinions about who her daughter should be with. She disapproved of Carter, seeing him as unreliable given his romantic history, and she wanted Paris with Zend, the man she considered the safer, more stable choice. On paper, Grace had her own motivations, but soap operas thrive on layered storytelling. And what if someone subtly encouraged Grace to act on her suspicions and take things to the next level? Enter Thomas, who knows how to whisper just enough in someone's. And Evans of Reese Buckingham might have been a combination Thomas couldn't allow to flourish, so he used Grace as the perfect tool. There are also narrative clues that support this fan theory. Grace's blackmail storyline felt rushed and somewhat out of character. Yes, she's protective, but her sudden aggressiveness, threatening Carter and pushing him towards Zend, didn't always feel natural. Some fans noticed the abrupt shift and wondered if the writers left out scenes that could have explained who or what was motivating her. Soap writers love to plant seeds that only bloom months later, and if it's later revealed that Thomas was subtly pulling strings, it would retroactively make Grace's behavior more believable. There was also the fact that Thomas was curiously quiet during this arc, a little too absent for someone who usually inserts himself into situations that could affect the family. His silence could have been intentional, signaling that he was orchestrating things from the shadows. Another compelling angle is the pattern of Thomas's redemption being challenged. Every time he makes progress and fans start to root for him, the writers throw in a twist that reminds everyone he is still capable of deception. If Thomas is behind Grace's blackmail, it could be the latest example of him walking the tightrope between good intentions and manipulative execution. He might justify it to himself as protecting his family and the company, but in reality it would reveal that he hasn't truly changed. That kind of gray area is what makes Thomas one of the most. The theory also raises questions about Paris and Zend. If Thomas had a hand in Grace's actions, then Paris's romantic life wasn't just disrupted by her mother, but by an entirely different player with his own motives. This could come back to haunt Thomas if Paris ever discovers the truth. Paris has been written as naive at times, but also fiercely independent when pushed too far, and learning that she was manipulated could ignite a brand new conflict. Zendi, too, could end up caught in the fallout, realizing that his supposed win with Paris was tainted by outside interference. For a show that thrives on messy triangles and overlapping loyalties, such a reveal would open the door to explosive new storylines. Fans are also debating whether Grace herself might have eventually realized she was being manipulated. Grace is no fool. She's a doctor, a woman with sharp instincts, and someone who doesn't hesitate to speak her mind. If Thomas planted ideas in her head, she may have gone along with them initially but later connected the dots. That could explain why Grace eventually seemed to back off, as if she realized she had been used. If the writers choose to explore this, it could lead to Grace confronting Thomas and exposing him, which would once again put him in the hot seat with his family and colleagues. Some fans, of course, argue that this theory is too far-fetched. They point out that Grace has enough motivation on her own to interfere in Paris's life, and the show doesn't always need a hidden puppet master behind every plot twist. But longtime viewers know that the bold and the beautiful rarely tells a story without at least one surprise connection, and Thomas being involved would add a richer layer to an arc that otherwise felt incomplete. Besides, Thomas's character is tailor-made for such a revelation. He thrives in morally gray spaces, and this would be the perfect way to complicate his current redemption path without turning him into a full-blown villain again. Whether or not this theory turns out to be true, it highlights one of the best things about soap fandom: the speculation, the theories, and the way viewers love to piece together clues. Was Grace truly acting out of motherly concern, or was Thomas whispering in her ear all along? Only time will tell, but for now fans are buzzing with the possibility, and if it turns out to be true, It could set off another chain reaction of secrets, betrayals, and confrontations that only the bold and the beautiful can deliver. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our United News 24 YouTube channel for more update news.